What's going on, everyone? It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. I want to talk to you guys today about why you should go local. Local meaning local government contracting, and local government contracting is the same as government contracting, okay? It's just municipalities, it's just doing work at the local level. It's still government contracting. If you never, ever win a federal government contract, it doesn't matter. You are still considered a government contractor. So that's what I want to just give you a couple of reasons why you should go local and just kind of pause or at least slow down the effort on federal government. You can still do federal government research, or, well, don't let the research take over your brain because you know how y'all be. But if you are like kind of stuck at the federal level and you just are like, why can't I get anything? Or I don't know where to look, or I got my cage code, now what? Then I promise you should go local. So the number one reason would be you don't want to give your personal address. So that is a very, very serious concern. Some of you all may have needed to use your local address or your home address for your EIN. You needed to do it at the Secretary of State. You needed to do it when you register with SAM.gov. You may have need to use your home address for your business bank account. And you may say, okay, well, Sheena, the SAM.gov is where I draw the line because it's going to show this on, public information. It's going to be public information on Google. That is a serious concern because people will have access to you. And the more money you make, the more problems. So you don't want to start off your federal contracting career with your address out there. I mean, some of it is like you got to do what you got to do and maybe you're not worried about it. But that is a serious concern that you are using your home address. And some people will even use, let's say you can't afford to have a commercial space or whatever the case may be. Some people have friends that have a commercial space or have friends that have a rental property that they just, you can use. That may be an option as well, but using your home address can be a serious concern. And so with that, on the local side, you can use the UPS box. I mean, the one that has the address. Now, almost never can you use a PO box. That's usually never allowed. I don't even think it's allowed when it comes to banks. But if you use like a UPS box or some other kind of virtual address, that's always allowed on the local side. I don't think I've ever had any issues. Maybe when it came to certain certifications on the local side, but generally speaking, it's never an issue on the local side when it comes to the address. You can use a virtual address, any address you want, and it's usually not going to be an issue. So that is one reason why you should definitely go local. The second one is you didn't get your cage code. Now, if you registered through SAM and you got all the way to the part where you needed to apply for your cage code, or let's say you didn't even get to that part, you're like, Sheena, what is a cage code? I don't even know what you're talking about. But you need a cage code in order to move forward with your SAM, for your SAM registration to be complete. Now, I just still don't know what a cage code is really for. And if someone can tell me what a cage code is actually for, that would be helpful, but I really don't know what it's for. But nonetheless, if you didn't get your cage code for whatever reason, whether you chose not to do it or whatever the case, then that is definitely a reason for you to slide over to local, because you may not know why or whatever the conflict is. Because there's many people that ask me, Sheena, I don't know why my address won't resolve. I have an old address and it's pinging it wrong, whatever. Some people even paying like attorneys and stuff like that, get them a real address, but it's really virtual and it's still not working, and they're registering on SAM.gov, which is free, and then they're having issues, and so they paid somebody and it still didn't work. But on the local side, they don't care about it. They don't care. So that was the address thing. But the cage code, right? The cage code, it may show a conflict because you have something mismatched. Now, you shouldn't have anything mismatched, because some people, when they put in their business information, they forget the LLC, or if they're incorporated, they forget the Inc., or they misspell it, or something. It could be anything that's mismatched, or the cage registration may just have some questions about whatever, and you just need to answer those questions. So I'm not saying don't do anything with that, but in the interim, while you're getting that fixed, you could be registering on the local side and you don't have to worry about the cage code. You just register as a vendor with your city, with your state, county. I've talked about this multiple times in multiple videos, but I just want to reiterate, when you're doing business with on the local level with the municipalities, with your state, with your county, with your city, with your school system, then you are just registering at all those levels, or you can start at the state level if you have a state that's actually pretty good when it comes to listing all the city and county opportunities on their website. But you might still need to go to the individual websites. Unfortunately, there may not be a one centralized location that you can register at the state level and below, like with the cities and counties or whatever. They may all be individual, but hey, it's free, right? So that's the main thing. And if it's not free, then you may want to reach out to whoever. Like if you go to the website, City of Austin procurement, like you just Google that and you find a site and you're like, okay, Sheena, they're asking me to pay because it's on Bonfire or it's on BidNet Direct or some other paid portal where that particular agency puts all their solicitations. There should be another way to go around it so it ends up being free. But if you don't find that free way, then you need to contact who's ever on that portal for that particular city or or the state and ask, is this a paid version in order to view solicitation? That's what you ask specifically. And that makes it a lot easier so you don't have to try to guess or figure out how to do it, because I just be figuring stuff out. I'm like, what's the freest way? So you can always ask. That's what those agencies are there for. You're not asking about a specific solicitation. So you can just ask, okay, why, I want the free version just to view solicitations. Like if I have to pay maybe to bid, okay, like I'm making a commitment. But if I gotta just pay to view, I'm not paying nothing. So just always ask about that. And then you don't have to worry about your cage code. The next thing is you're scared of the federal government. This is a very real thing. So I'm not gonna make fun of it because you have whatever reasons you have, whether it's like, all the contracts that I see for my industry are far too large, far too big for me to manage. And I don't want to, get into something that I'm not gonna be able to manage. Totally justifiable, totally understandable. And you may wanna just start off at local. Now, let me be clear. Local, you can make a lot of millions. You can make millions on millions on millions on the local side, the same way you can make millions on the federal side. Now, the federal side is going to obviously have more money as a whole. That doesn't mean that you're going to have all the money that the federal government has to offer. So really, if you're starting off and you're brand new, it's apples to apples. I mean, like if you're a larger company, maybe viewing this video, then you're like, okay, well, Sheena, the most that the local government can give me is $3 million and we don't do anything less than $5 million. Okay, then maybe you might say the federal government is the only way to go. But if you're just starting off or you're a new business or you're still trying to figure it out, then really you're going to see small contracts on the federal side, small contracts on the local side, big contracts on the local side, big contracts on the federal side. So you might be afraid of the federal government. So just go on over to local and you won't have to worry about dealing with federal. You don't have to worry about registering in SAM and them digging up all the skeletons. They don't dig up any skeletons, I don't think. But you're like, that registration process is giving me the blues. I don't want to use my address, blah, blah, blah. Then just go to local and you could still make money on that side. And generally speaking, there's going to be more or as many opportunities on the local side that there is on the federal side. So the next thing is going to be, you don't see any opportunities. That's kind of what I was just mentioning. You may not see any opportunities on the federal side that you see on the local side. For example, I haven't seen any litter pickup federal contracts. If somebody finds one, send it to your girl because I want it, okay? Send it to me. But on the local side, it's abundant. It's abundant. There's a lot. Well, there's not a lot, but there's obviously way more. Because even on the local side, litter pickup is still a little, new, I guess, because really litter pickup was being done by prisoners, community service, county and city workers, but now they're outsourcing that to contractors. So really, there's going to be more opportunities for litter pickup. That's my favorite contract. For those who are brand new or don't know, litter pickup is my favorite. Okay, for my company, Foresight Industries, that's my favorite type of contract is litter pickup. It's just easy breezy. Okay, but nonetheless, you don't see any opportunities. Well, probably because they're on the local side more often than not. I also see this a lot with education. Now that I'm kind of looking at education contracts a little bit more, I'm seeing more of those on the local side because the school systems, there's not going to, they have the Department of Education on the federal side, but it's, you have literal universities and literal public school systems, charter school systems on the local side. So it only makes sense if you're in education to really go after local contracts. So you may be like, I don't see anything. I've been looking in SAM for a year. Yeah, you've been looking in the wrong place, boo. You need to look how to do business with University of Notre Dame, how to do business with University of California. Literally, that's what you need to do. And it will take you through whatever portal they use and you register there. And if you're an educator, whoop, there it is. You'll see everything that they need services for. So the next reason why you should definitely go local is that you get to build a better rapport. Now, you can do that on the federal side for sure. You can, it's no like and trust. You can build relationships with the contracting officers, with the buyers, with whomever. But on the local side, typically those people stay in those positions for a lot longer. mean, there's no guarantee, right? Like people quit, people move on, they go to other agencies, whatever the case may be. But sometimes your contracting officer might be a service member, might be a soldier. And so you're trying to do business with even, let's say, the VA. There's soldiers that work at the VA. There's soldiers that work, of course, for all Department of Defense, and they may be your contracting officer. And usually they cycle in and out every 2 to 4 years. And so now you've been in business for 10 years and you've gone through 4 or 5 contracting officers. Whereas on the local side, typically this is not 100%. I'm just saying that a lot of times those people stay in those positions for 20, 30 plus years. And so they can, you could build a rapport with them. Now that may be, it come to an end at some point, and you want to make sure that you are not just going after an agency. They know you and that's it, and just try to build other relationships, but you're building a rapport nonetheless. And sometimes you can have that rapport with that agency for a long time, as long as you're in business, and then they know, like, and trust. And then of course, if you're doing business, especially like within your metro area, not Metro Atlanta. Everybody ain't in Atlanta, even though I feel like everyone is, but in your metro area, a lot of times these people know each other. If they're contracting officers or contract specialists, a lot of times they'll know each other. Whereas contract specialists and contracting officers on the federal side, they may be in a whole other state and they manage multiple contracts throughout the country. So you'll never see them. They may not ever come to the location where your contract is located. Whereas if they're in, a certain county, DeKalb County, city of Atlanta, they're going to be within the area, and usually they'll show up at a lot of these events. So if you go to an event like an industry day or some kind of doing business with the county type of event, you're meeting the people who are writing the check. You're meeting the people who are the buyers, like whoever in that county needs to buy services, and you're meeting the contracting officer, who is the ultimate decision maker when it comes to the actual contract and managing the budget. So it's really good to build that rapport within your area compared to federal, where you just kind of like a shot in the dark. And again, can you do it? Absolutely. I want you guys to do it, but I definitely want you to consider local, because it's easier to reach out and touch those people, especially when it comes time to your money. Because you know how I feel. If you've been watching me for a while, I want to be able to reach out and touch people about my money, and they're local. So it makes it a lot easier. And the last thing I want to mention of why you should go local is because you might be doing business where you grew up. Like, isn't that a good feeling? Like, let's say you grew up in LA, Los Angeles, California, and you went to, I don't know, Los Angeles High. I don't know what the name of this, what your high school is named. I'm sure there's more than one high school. But let's just say you went to high school there, you still live there, you do business there, and then you provide services for that school. Like, that's just a good, it's almost like you're giving back, but you're getting paid to give back. And it's always good, because like a lot of these people that were in school with you, that grew up to, they grew up to be the principal, they grew up to be contracting officers, they grew up to work somewhere in the city, in the county, work for the state, and boom, here you are, like, hey, you can't be like, what's it called? Collusion, like where it's a family member or something like that. But I mean, friends are friends. Someone who knows that you provide a good service, and they're like, oh, I know a guy, I know a girl. It makes it easier for everyone. Still have to put it out for bid, but you can sometimes even get like a micro purchase or a credit card purchase, where it's like the micro purchases, like the definition is supposed to be under 10,000, I believe it is. But then they also have purchases that they can make under a certain authorization within certain counties and certain cities, where they're up to like 49,000. So if you're just doing a one-day service for 49,000, that's a good payday to me. I mean, or for like 1 week or one service, whatever the case may be. And so they can just do that with a credit card. And usually those don't go out for bid. Those don't go out for bid. Those are just services. Just like if they were to buy something off of Amazon or get a service off of Google, you'll be the person that they use for that service or for that good, and you don't have to worry about. So it ends up being a really good way for you to get contracts that way too. Those are government contracts. If you have your business in the city or even in the state where you grew up, or you've been for a long time, or you went to college, reach out and touch those people. Like, okay, I know someone that works at the state. I know someone, this is so many people that tell me, oh yeah, my best friend that I grew up with works here. Okay, then explore that conversation. You don't want a handout, but you want a leg up. You want a boost. You want some help because you're brand new to business. business, right? Or say you're not brand new to business, you've only been doing residential or commercial, or you just been selling business to business, business to customer, and now you want to expand to government contracting, then why not use your resources? Everyone else does. So don't be ashamed or afraid of that. If the relationship that you have with that person obviously makes sense. If it's someone that you're an enemy, then they may not want to do business with you for whatever reason. But just, being able to provide services and goods for a place where you grew up is a great thing, in my opinion. And I think that that's something that people need to explore more, because the resource is there. The opportunity is there. If there's a solicitation that you see and you're like, oh my goodness, this is in, Los Angeles and I'm still here and I know someone that works in the city, let me go ahead and go after this opportunity because I'm right here, grew up here, born and raised, they know me, I know them. And then you could just go after that, and that's still considered government contract, and you don't have to register in SAM for that. Isn't that great? You ain't gotta worry about SAM. So again, if you are trying to do business with doing government contracting, move SAM out the way for now. Pause on that. Go local. Start in your centralized area, and then Google doing business with whatever city you're in, doing business with whatever county you're in, doing business with whatever state you're in, doing business with whatever the nearest university is, doing business with whatever the nearest school public school system is, and then start there. You'll go down a rabbit hole. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. But then at least okay, it's gonna start making more sense, because what's gonna end up happening as well is that when you register as a vendor for any of those local agencies, they're gonna start sending you quote requests. And it's not even get this, it won't even be a bunch of paperwork. Usually, it might be a bunch of paperwork when it comes to filling in documents, but it won't be a proposal, a full proposal, technical proposal that you have to do. It'll just be, hey, we want you to do this. Of course, I'm usually going to use something to do with facilities. We want you to give a quote for this drywall. So come out, look at where we need the drywall done, and then you take pictures, and then you get a quote, and you send us a quote, and that's it. That's your bid. And then when you win that, you just won a government contract. Isn't that beautiful? So I just want to share that. And of course, make sure that you check out the GovCon Moneymakers community. The link is in the description. It's 100% free to join. We got so many people in there sharing information, helping each other out, making connections, all this and that. And I have my course, GovCon Now, that teaches you about federal, local, and corporate contracting. I have something for my veterans, of course. And I want to make sure that you guys get the 3-tier contracting experience. Do federal, do corporate, but I definitely want most people to start off at local, because it's more streamlined, it's more black and white, it's structured, and it's easier usually for people to comprehend. If you sit down and read it, I promise. And of course, if you need some help, your girl is here with the mentorship program, GovCon Now. So until next time, it's your favorite veteran.